everyone. This is Chef Stacy again. We're back again at the Journey Kitchen and Journey Christian Church in Apopka, Florida. The holidays are almost here, everybody. And it's that time. People are shopping. The weather's getting cooler. You're thinking about what you're going to buy somebody for Christmas. But I hope I've got a few ideas for you. I hope that I can get you to use food as a gift. We just finished this series, a sermon series called Kingdonomics. And my favorite sermon was one about generosity. And a question was posed: wouldn't you like to be known as the person who's generous? Or wouldn't you like to be known to be from a church where the people are so generous? So that just got me thinking about food as gifts. And you don't have to spend a lot of money to create really cute things that people will love. People just want to know that you love them and that you thought about them. That's more than an expensive gift. So today, I've got some ideas for you, but we're gonna do some chocolate chip biscotti and some cream cheese mints. And I've got a story to tell you about this biscotti. I learned this recipe years ago from Marion Getz. She was my boss when I worked as a pastry chef for Wolfgang Puck's at Downtown Disney. See, it's not even called Downtown Disney anymore. It's called Disney Springs now. That's how far back I go. But she taught me this recipe. And over the years, I have made so many variations of it. It's just crazy. But my kids have some wonderful, funny memories of this recipe. When my kids were in high school, they were band kids. So all the band kids would meet at my house every Friday. And during homecoming week, I used to make food in their school colors. And then one of the school's colors was blue. So I would have a blue week where everything was blue. And even this biscotti, I would turn it blue. And I don't want to gross you out, but some of the kids used to have contests because Miss Stacy would make so much blue food. The true spirited kids would pee blue. So whoever peed blue first, they were the diehard school fans. So my kids have a lot of funny memories of biscotti. And when my son went to college, whenever he wanted a care package, biscotti was on the top of the list. And that made him think of home. And so he would share that. I would make a big gallon Ziploc bag of it and freeze it. And he would share it with all his roommates. So we've got a lot of memories with this biscotti. So let's get started. I've got 2 mixers going here so that we can make everything today. But we're gonna start here with sugar. I've just got white sugar. And while I'm on air here, I'm actually gonna make a half recipe because I kind of got it started over there and I need to show you a midway point. So I'm making a half recipe, but all the ingredients for the full recipe will be online. So I've got brown sugar in here and I've got regular sugar and I've got some butter. Let me get the paper off of this one. All right. We're gonna mix that up. Gonna lift this up, get this going. Put that in the trash. You wanna cream your butter and your sugar first, and butter's gonna get very soft. I did let my butter get room temperature, just so it would not, I don't wanna say melt, but it would mix better. And everything is gonna start clumping together. Next, we're gonna add some salt. I've got my baking soda in there, a little vanilla. And I'm gonna just stop this just so you can see it. I want you to keep seeing the transition of things. It's starting to clump together, and that's exactly what you want. Let's get that going there. Whenever you're using one of these stand mixers, by the way, I love stand mixers because hand mixers will work fine, but with the stand mixer, you get to be hands-free. That's one of my favorite things about these. And these things last for years. When I tell you I've actually dropped one before, I have. They're really sturdy, they last forever. Now, can you come on in close and see the difference? How everything is all kind of clumped together now. And it's that sugar and the brown sugar and the butter has all come together. That's what you want. I'm gonna add in an egg. Keep mixing that. Now, I'm gonna add some honey. I'm gonna show you a little trick what I do with honey. Whenever you're using honey and you go to measure it, it sticks to the spoon or whatever you're measuring it with. So if you give it a little spray, then put the honey on it, we need to, watch this, watch how fast, it just slides right out. And then the honey is not stuck on the spoon, it's in your dish where you want it. So always give that little spoon a spray. We've got that all mixing well. Now we are going to add the flour. This recipe is calling for a bread flour. You don't want to add it all at one time. When you're using these mixers, if you add it all at one time, you will learn the hard way because it will give you a poof. It will give you just a poof of flour in the air, and you don't want that. So add it a little at a time so it can incorporate. And you're gonna get almost a dry batter. It's gonna be moist, but it's not gonna be super juicy wet. That's coming together perfectly. Get the rest of that in there. Now here the mixer's starting to work a little harder because the batter's getting thicker. One thing with stand mixers is you always want to scrape down the sides. Let's use a little taller one. I'm going to scrape down the sides so that anything that is stuck to the side of the bowl will get incorporated. Just want to clean the sides of the bowls there, and then the mixer will do the rest. It will make sure that everything mixes together. Come up one more time. Our last step here, I've got a combination of dark chocolate chips and white chocolate chips. Love to eat them. I like a mixture of chips. If you don't want to do white chocolate chips, you don't have to. Or you can switch for milk chocolate chips. But I like the flavor contrast between the dark chocolate and the white. Yeah, I think you can make that. Look how easy that was. We're all set. We gotta get all of our batter off of the mixer paddle. And now we start the fun part. I am gonna put a little flour on my cutting board here. Because we're gonna roll it into logs. I am gonna use an ice cream scoop. I'm gonna show you why. Just to have a little scoop. We're gonna make logs, but you want the log to be consistent in its thickness and width. See that? And it presses. I want you to see how it's still moist? Roll that into a little log. What I love about this recipe is you can make chocolate chip cookies or biscotti. Biscotti happens to be my family favorite, but if you wanted to make cookies with this, take your knife and make your slices just like that. See? Cut it through, and then you have your chocolate chip cookies. But we're gonna just take this a little step different, roll it out, and see how nice and even my log is. It's not fat here and then skinny here, because I use that ice cream scoop. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna chop this in half lengthwise. I'm gonna bring my pan over here so you can see this. have some parchment paper on the pan. You can use Silpats, but make sure you coat the pan with something. All right, I'm gonna make a few more logs here. Again, see that how the ice cream scoop just makes it easy. Give it a roll. You do gotta get a little messy. Sometimes cooking is like that. Roll it into your log. Cut it down the middle long ways. You can actually see the white and the dark chocolate chips in there. I got a little left in here. I think we'll get 2 more scoops out of this one. Last one. I've already got my oven preheating to 350. One more cut. Here, I'll put that one there and this one here. Now, your last step before you put them in the oven is we're gonna coat them with a little sugar. This is gonna give your biscotti a nice sugary top. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press down slightly. I just wanna slightly take that little curve off the top. And you're gonna see why in a minute. I'm just slightly pressing down. Don't smash them down. Just slightly take that curve off the top. Let's make sure we got sugar covering that really well. I'm gonna put these in the oven. Depending on your oven, I've noticed that when I bake them at home, it takes about 15 minutes to bake. When I bake them here in the oven at the church, it takes about 20 minutes. So just watch. I'm gonna put these in the oven, but I wanna show you what they look like after they bake. This is what the logs look like. And see how when you flatten them just a bit, it took that little arch off them a little bit, but I'll show you what we're gonna do with them. Now, I'm gonna slice them up, but this first little edge is actually sometimes my kid's favorite. And because I made a batch last night, my daughter went to my house this morning to get these edges. This is the first bake. Biscotti is an Italian cookie, and it actually means twice baked. So we're gonna bake these twice, but this little edge, it's not quite crunchy yet, but it's so good. So we're gonna cut those up. And what I'm gonna end up doing is putting them back on my cutting board. Let me set my cutting board there. We're gonna put them back on the baking sheet. I want you to turn them sideways. What we wanna do on the second bake is to get them crispy. Again, those pieces are the best. You gotta get them all sideways. What you're gonna do too is you're gonna lower your oven to 250 now and put them back in the oven. And in about 15 minutes, you will have the best biscotti ever. Ooh. I'm gonna put these in the oven on 250. And in 15 minutes, you have biscotti. Now, while that's cooking, I got a second treat for you. In our atrium of our church, we always have this big dish, and it's always filled with mince. that dish is always empty. People like mints. I walk around the offices and you go into people's rooms and there's always little bowls of mints and stuff like that. And we just had this event called Light Up Journey, and we did a mint bar with all kinds of little flavored mints in little bowls. People like mints this time of the year. So I want to show you what we're going to make. We're going to make these little cream cheese mints. This is so super easy to make. And these I've got it colored in red and green, of course, for the holidays. But you can make them any color you want, and especially around Easter, these are really pretty to make too because you can make them in pastel colors. So this is really fun to make. Alrighty, this mixer works a little bit different than the other one. So we're gonna start off with some cream cheese. I've got some cream cheese right here. And you do want your cream cheese to be room temperature, just so that it mixes well. Get that going. I've got some mint extract. Everybody thinks a lot about peppermint and mocha drinks with mint in them this time of the year. So put the mint extract in there. And again, you can make them any color you want. I'm gonna make them green. If you look at my hands, you can tell I was playing with the food color earlier. So I'm gonna stick with green. And I want you to notice too that I covered my cutting board with some plastic, just because I don't want to turn my white cutting board green. But I'm going to add just a few drops. It's going to start making that cream cheese green. Then we're going to add some 10x sugar. And like I said before, you don't want to add it all at once. Now, when you do add it, when you do add the 10x sugar, if you add too much at one time, you're gonna get that big poof. But it's gonna make a very dry batter. So it's gonna take a minute for it to come together. And the dough is gonna feel even a little bit stiff, but that's what you want. When I was a personal chef, I used to make these for clients and leave them as a gift on the counter. I always thought it was fancy when you go to dinner and they leave you a little mint. Like, have you ever been to the Olive Garden and you get the little chocolate mints after a meal? I always thought it was fancy to have a mint to leave on a little napkin after you eat or something. So I used to love to make these. I'm gonna stop and give it a scrape to make sure the cream cheese is not stuck down to the side of the bowl. Remember, you always gotta scrape the bowls. Scrape the sides whenever you use a mixer. Because see, a lot of the cream cheese is still attached to the wall of the bowl. Because we need all of that to incorporate with the 10x sugar. And see how it's getting just a little clumped together? We want it to just continue to mix together. Give that a minute. But let me show you what the finished one looks like. I put them in these cute little tins, and look at that. Uh-oh, this one's getting away. I shouldn't eat out of this one because I could give it to somebody. But it's really soft. You get the mint flavor, and you get the little crunch from the sugar coating. Okay, look at it now. See how the dough is coming together? I'm gonna stop it and give it one more little mix just to make sure everything on the bottom gets off the side of the bowl. See how nice that looks? See how it's thick and it's a very dry batter. One more mix and we're ready to go. Now what we're gonna do when we take it out is this one, you just gotta take a little ball of it. We're gonna roll it. I'm pouring sugar on this one. Some sugar on the board here. Let's scrape it off my paddle. I'm gonna take a handful of it, look at that. And it's in a nice ball. See, this is where the green can start getting on you too. You wanna roll it. And what we wanna do is get it to where it's in a little log. I'm gonna separate this and take about half of this. We need it to get to where it looks like a snake. The sugar really helps from it sticking to your hands or to your cutting board. See how it's starting to just roll out there? And you want to get this, think of it as a rope, and you want the rope to be about a 1/2 inch thick, but it doesn't have to be perfect. I've got a pan here. I've just got a piece of parchment on it. All I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut some little pieces here. And I'm gonna just lay them right out on my sheet pan. And I've got the sheet pan covered with sugar. What we're gonna do is once we cut all of this up, we're going to leave this out on the counter until it dries. I made a batch last night, so I just left it overnight. I just covered it and left it overnight. If you like working with your hands and don't mind getting your hands in the dough, this is a nice recipe. And it's easy. You know me, I like easy recipes. And this, you really can make these for any holidays. You can make them red at Valentine's, but making them again at Easter is my favorite with all the pastels. You leave them out on the counter so that they air dry and they get a little bit of crisp firmness right on the outer edge there. This, you take this pan and leave it out. Now, I made red last night, but I just made these. Now these came out just a little bit lighter green than those. I'm gonna leave these on the counter so that they can air dry. But then what you do is you package them up. See how I put them in a little mason jar here? Sometimes I think I'm obsessed with making cute stuff in mason jars. Who doesn't love doing something in a mason jar? But as you can see, I cut just a little piece of fabric over the top, filled it with mince, put this together so easily. There you have it. And look, again, I showed you this already, little tins. I put some parchment paper on the bottom. These make great office gifts because they can just put this in their drawer and snack on these whenever they just need a little refreshing break. But I wanted to give you some ideas on what I did with this biscotti. Here, I've got one here. I love biscotti because it's crunchy. If you like a crunchy cookie, this is perfect. I love biscotti with hot chocolate. You've got some caramel hot chocolate here. I've got a little tin of them here. You can package them so many cute ways. Over here, I've got them in a little gift bag with a mug, and I've got some mocha coffee to go with it. But you can do all kinds of things with food gifts. You just gotta be creative. Now this idea, I can't even take credit for this one. I saw this one on Pinterest. It was a little Christmas tree. The ornaments were filled with sugar cookie ingredients. So this is filled with sprinkles. You buy the empty ornaments like this, and then you fill them. You can fill it with flour and sugar, and then put a little card that's telling you to add the egg and whatever other ingredients you have. But you put all the dry ingredients in the little bulbs and you hang them on a little tree. How cute is this? Look at this. It's just a bottle of sprinkles and you fill a little ornament like that. There's so many cute things you can do with food. This one is one of my favorites too. It's mason jars, but it's pancake mix. And then it's just some pure maple syrup in the little jar with a little label on it saying, love, have some pancakes with grandma. And what I love about this is that if you put the pancake mix in a squeeze bottle, we're here in Florida. We love all things Mickey Mouse here. You can make Mickey pancakes. So you put the pancake mix in a squeeze bottle, you make the big circle, and then you make the two little ear circles and you together, and you've got the syrup. Cute little gift. How much would that cost you? You've probably got mason jars sitting under your counter and your sink somewhere you're not even using. Go wash them off and come up with something cute for them. But you package that with a big ribbon. But I hope that I've given you some ideas on just what to do with food as gifts. You don't have to spend a lot of money for people. Just let them know that you thought about them. Your generosity can really shine through preparing something homemade for somebody, and they'll love it. Anytime you need the recipes of anything that I've done, I want you to go to journeychristian.com/cooking with Chef Stacy, and all the recipes that I make are always on there, and all the previous videos are on there as well. But if you've learned to make food a part of your faith journey, you're gonna do some amazing things. If you've got time, I wanna take you around and we're gonna deliver some of these goodies to some of the staffers over there. Come on.